Hi everybody, it's Joe Denner and I am bringing you another leadership lesson from the trenches today. Now, in last week's video, I gave you a big challenge, and so if you haven't watched the video from last Friday, I want to strongly encourage you to go back and take a look at that, because that challenge had everything to do with learning. And today's video is a bit of a follow-up on that from a slightly different angle. So I was in a client meeting last week, and my client brought up an old quote from Tom Peters, which really was very, very pertinent to our conversation and has a ton to do with what I talked to you about last week in the area of learning. Tom Peters said this: if you're not falling down, you're not learning to ski. And I think that's a great quote, because while we want to learn and grow, with that comes risk. And with the risks come the eventual falling down, the eventual crash, the eventual failure. And I want to give you a couple things to think about today as a leader. First of all, if you're not falling down, you're not learning. If you are not experiencing some level of failure or things going a bit wrong, then you're not trying new things. You're not taking the kinds of risks that you need to take as a leader to take your organization where it needs to go. What got you here is not going to get you where you want to go, and that's an important way of thinking. So we need to make sure that we are creating an environment in our companies that embraces the reality of failure. And I want you to hear the distinction in that. I'm not saying we're celebrating failure and that we want to fail. Now, there are those who are out there who think that we should go after failure, and I don't go that far. But my point is, we have to have a culture that embraces the reality of failure, because if we're not failing, we're not trying. If we're not failing, we're not taking risks, the kind of risks we should be taking to take our organizations where they need to go. So that's the first thing: is how well are you doing at creating an environment that allows for failure to take place for the purpose of learning and growth and taking things to the next level. But here's the second thing, and this is what really came out of my conversation with my client last week, because this client is a snow removal company. It's wintertime. They've done an enormous amount of preparation, both strategically and tactically, to prepare for snow events. As a matter of fact, they've brought in a brand new technology to try something new that's really could be a massive breakthrough for their organization. However, with that comes the inherent possibility that something's going to go wrong. And as we've had a couple of snow events, there have been some things that have gone wrong. And so the topic of our conversation the other day was, how do you respond as a leader when the team falls down? And the real question is, how are you inspiring the team to be able to get up from the failure and to move on? Are you going to allow the team to start bickering? Are you going to allow the team to start pointing fingers and start trying to figure out who to blame? Or are you as a leader going to bring them together? Your role as a leader is to keep the team a team and to help them respond to failure in a way that ultimately leads to success, because failure is not where this thing has to end. So that's my encouragement to you today. First of all, you're going to fall down. If you're not falling down, then you're not learning. You need to be learning. But second of all, how are you as a leader going to lead your team through the failure to victory? So those are two important things to think about in the whole area of learning. I'm Joe Denner. If you are watching this anywhere but my blog, please go over to joedenner.com, where you're going to find a lot more great resources to help you in your leadership journey. Thanks, and have a great day.